Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and it's time to talk about the 2026 Alternative Freeride Favorites list, one of my favorite types of boards. And if you want to know what Alternative Freeride is to the Good Ride, these are boards that are more tapered, set back, and directional than traditional freeride boards. However, they're far from being as set back, tapered, and directional as snow surf boards, which really ride back near the tail. And if you don't know about the Good Ride, this is a place for honest, objective reviews from an average rider's perspective. I've ridden close to 1,000 snowboards, and I extensively test and compare them on a level that nobody else does. And just like our reviews, this is no pay-to-play favorites list. These boards earned their spot solely by how they ride. And I can do this thanks to support from this wonderful community that I have here, and also thanks to our sponsor, Blower Board Shop. They've been selling to snowboarders longer than resorts have been allowing snowboarders. They have a few brick and mortar locations, but also a very strong online presence. So if you want to support honest, objective content and a great shop, click through our links to Blower Board Shop and spend your hard-earned cash there. It would be greatly appreciated. So first up on the list is the Amplid Time Machine, which is best for advanced to expert riders. And while this doesn't have the best easy directional float, the turning experience and this board's ability to reduce chatter is exceptional. I just kept finding a reason to ride this long after I figured out the board. And this mellow but full camber ride has more spring out of the turn than you would think. And same goes for how this flex can handle uneven snow. Amplid just makes fun boards to turn, and this is no exception. So if you like a more centered feel on a more directional board but want a different shape from your typical freeride board, this could be a really fun option, and I'm stoked I have a 55 in my quiver. Now next up is the Stone Farther, a low-cost favorite that can work for a committed beginner on up to an expert. This is such a forgiving, easy board to ride, but it's super far from being boring. It has such a fun, slashy, easy to turn powder ride. Then on groomers, it's got a really fun turn to it, especially for not having a ton of camber. It's got this cool personality that rides more centered, air-friendly than a lot of alternative freeride boards, yet somehow creates this setback, slashy feel. It's a very unique ride that held its own against some of the most expensive boards on this list, and it punches well above its price point. Stone is a very small, not very well-known brand, but they make amazing boards. And let me put it to you this way. If this was a Burton board, it would be selling out every year halfway through the season. The 155 I rode was fun, but I would absolutely love to have a 160 in my quiver. Now next up is the Cardiff Powgoda Enduro 2026, which is best for committed intermediates on up to experts. I loved the old model, but because of all the tariff issues happening these days, Cardiff moved from GP87 out of China to a new factory in Canada, and they did a refresh. It's now a little wider, has more pop, and has a new nose and tail. I haven't ridden this yet, but I love the changes, and most are what I would have wished for with the older model. I should be getting on this soon, but I have no problem recommending it now in Enduro or Enduro Limited, especially after feeling the new construction when testing the links and the crane. This is still going to be bucky in softer, thicker, uneven snow, but this is such a slashy, easy turning, easy floating, super fun board that it had to make the list. This has setback POW inserts for those super deep days, and it has amazing float and close to being one of the best on this list, but you can also ride this a good bit more centered if you're into getting some air or ride steeper terrain. The base is still super fast and the grip is confidence inspiring in hard spots. This is a great choice for anybody that loves to set it way back towards the tail in powder and get an easy floating, almost snow surf kind of feel to it, but also love a directional, turny, fun to carve board on a groomer day. I would absolutely love to have a 158 in my quiver. Now next up is the Jones Mind Expander, which is great for committed intermediates on up to experts. While this isn't the best board in hard uneven snow, it does grip well and handle soft uneven snow incredibly well. The float isn't as good as it used to be when it was Surf Rocker, but the spoon nose still makes the turning experience incredibly fun, and this is far from being a slouch on a deep day. This is one of the more turny, slashy Jones boards, but it's still a very good steeper terrain ride for a board like this. I love this fast base and the somewhat set back turning experience on groomers that has good spring out of the turn. The Mind Expander and the Powgoda share a lot of similarities, but this stiffer Mind Expander is a better board for groomers and for soft uneven snow. The Powgoda is better in hard uneven snow and deeper powder, but both are incredibly fun, and it just comes down to what appeals to you more. Now next up is the Jones Hovercraft 2.0, which is best for advanced expert riders. This is the exact opposite of the slashy, turny Mind Expander. It has a shallower side cut that loves to go straight and make hard down the line carves on groomers. Then when you get this in powder, it dials that straight line personality back a little bit, and you can get a little slashy, even though it's not as slashy or turny as the Mind Expander. This floats better though, and as long as you're not in a really tight tree line, this could be a really fun option for you as your dedicated powder board, especially if you ride a lot of wide open terrain. I really enjoyed this more set back tapered, slightly softer version of the old Hovercraft. It makes it a little more accessible, but still retains that powerful, straight line friendly, floaty personality that the older model had. Now next up is the Gentemstick Mantaray, which is good for beginners with a shit ton of cash all the way up to experts, and it's far from being boring at any ability level. I'm going to call this one of the godfathers of alternative freeride. This design has inspired so many other brands to make a board like this. And while they're not the same, they've definitely made snowboarding more fun for all of us average riders out there, and most of it is thanks to the Gentemstick Mantaray. This is truly a special board because it turns way better than you would think for the minimal amount of camber it has. It's also got an exceptionally fast base and incredible grip for no disruption in the side cut. It's not bad in powder, but there are better boards if that's your main thing. It's not ideal if you want to point it either, but it's such a fun board to go out and try to make the most stylish turns or emulate that kind of turn on a berm you would see in 70s, 80s pool skating vids. Because of this excessively high price, this is a board I love to take out when conditions are clean, uncrowded, and I'm in a smooth turning mood. I'm not saying yacht rock smooth, I'm saying more mid-70s funk smooth. And this is such a special ride, and if you can swing the price, it's a great board to have in your quiver. Now, I have a 156, but this is applicable to all the Mantarays out there, from the giant Mantaray to the baby Mantaray and everything in between. So there might be a size that'll actually fit your specs, where a lot of Gentemstick boards only come in one size. Now next up is the hard snow favorite, the Yes Pick Your Line Xtrm, which is great for committed intermediates on up to experts. This is stiff, but it has a pretty forgiving camber profile that's easy to skid a turn when you get off your game, but it can also step it up and go really big. And what I love about this board is it has a more centered stance than almost any other board on this list, save the Time Machine, yet it has a very tapered, directional, slashy, turny feel that really shines on steeper lines. And what's cool is it can also handle medium angle powder pretty well for being this centered on board. Another cool feature is how the side cut is mellow at the entry point near the nose, which allows you to go straight very well, but then gets more turny as you get towards the tail. so it has a very versatile turning experience. It's one of the better boards on this list for getting air as well, and it also grips well in hard snow, so it's great for those who want to be ready for powder, but know they're going to get some hard snow days as well. Now next up is the hard snow favorite, the Gnu Turbo Gremlin, which is best for advanced to expert riders. This is a late release for 2026, and they basically took the Gremlin, a hard snow short wide favorite at the Good Ride here, made it longer, narrower, and more poppy. It's got a little less disruption in the side cut than the regular Gremlin, but still is very grippy and incredibly stable with this practically full camber ride. I love the pop and turning experience of the regular Gremlin, and this takes it up to the next level. The base isn't great, but at least this year they put a nice structure to it, and it's ready to go out of the wrapper. It just needs a thicker layer of wax, and it should be better than most knife cut centered bases that you see from Mervin. I'm not saying it's a cure, it's better, but you still have to wax this more than other boards. It also doesn't have the best float for this kind of shape, but it's such a fun board to turn and get air with that I can't keep it off this list. I'm keeping a 155 because this can set an edge better than most on hard days and make my turns so much more fun. Now, last up on this list, but far from least, is the low-cost favorite, the Korua Transition Finder. This is best for advanced to expert riders that love to carve and get air. The Transition Finder is a favorite here, but also one of Davy's big boy favorites as well. This is an incredible board for getting air, but also rails a turn better than almost any board on this list, except the Turbo Gremlin and the Time Machine. Its hard, uneven snow performance isn't the best, but it's very manageable and super fun in just about every condition. If you want to focus on hard carving and getting air on a more tapered directional board, this is an excellent choice. However, it's got pretty solid float and pow, so it could easily be your one board quiver. For 2026, there's a classic option that I'm talking about here, but for a little more money, you can get the brushed version that's slightly softer, lighter, and a little more poppy than the classic. And if you want to go much more expensive, you can get the Plus version, which is a stiffer, lighter, poppier version of the brushed model and with a faster base. But it has more chatter in uneven snow. So there you have it. That's the Good Ride's alternative Freeride favorite list. And hey, there are a lot of great boards out there being made these days. So if your board didn't make the list, it could still be the perfect board for you. If you want to know why your board didn't make the list, go check out the review on the Good Ride. And if I didn't review it, hit me up here and I'll do my best to get on it. Now, if you have questions or want to share your take, it's absolutely necessary to provide context. Please include your boot size, weight, and height. Also include the make, model, year, size board or boards you ride now and how they work for you. Tell us where you ride, your ability level, and your riding style, etc. Otherwise, it's incredibly hard for me to help here on YouTube, and no one will understand your take at all if you want to share it. Also, the Good Ride's pockets aren't deep, and we need your help to keep this dream thriving. So buying through our links on thegoodride.com or YouTube, especially through Blower, help us tremendously. Also, check out Patreon for early access to reviews and exclusive content like comparisons that you won't see anywhere else, and you can get better advice there than you can on YouTube. And speaking of advice, my time is very limited. So if you want the best advice possible, hit me in the paid advice form and you'll get a massively more in-depth, detailed response than you will anywhere else. And of course, liking and subscribing helps us a lot too. And I can't begin to tell you how lucky I am to have had your support since the Good Ride's been visible to the public in 2010, and it's been one hell of a journey. All right, I'll see you on the next vid.